Right, so we need to talk, people. We need to have the talk. So earlier today, guys, I talked to you about the man talk, and I promised that I wanted to do another part to that. So part two. Before I retire, before I go into bed. Today I'm just tired. It was just a tiring day. It was so tiring. The kids who came out, man, they were full of energy. I'm telling you, they give me a run for my money today. They give me a run. And it was just one class, one class where the kids just came out with a vengeance today. It was tough. As we said, they had testing this morning, so um, after testing, we only had 3 sections. Um, and it was just interesting. But I'm here, and haven't decided not to go back yet, so it's a good thing. I still have some resilience. I still have some little something left in the tank, so I will go back because just because. So I started today. I talked about the video with the little guy the man cussing out the conductress, and the little boy joining him with the bad words and all that. But that really wasn't what my message was going to be. Actually, my message was really going out to mothers, community mothers, church mothers who need to start talking to the daughters about how to how to have good relationships, how to become the kind of wife that can be appreciated, I think. Um, so as I get ready to go into this, people, remember to like the video, remember to just support me on the road to 2,000. Share the videos, people. Share them, share them, share them, and invite others to just come over and support the channel. So, if you haven't subscribed as yet, please do so. If you're a visitor passing through, then please remember as you watch, leave your comments. I really appreciate them, especially people who, like, I appreciate all comments. I appreciate all of them. I like when you comment and show that you watch the video. It means a lot to me. So thanks to all of you who have been doing that, and thank you for all of you who have been supporting me on the journey. This is coming up to be 2 years, and so I'm grateful. As we head to 2 years, let's try to hit the 2,000 or so. So, as I said this morning when I went in, I wanted to talk about that sharing that I got last night on WhatsApp. I watched the video with the lady and I listened carefully, and I know these things happen. So I spoke today to the men that the kids glorify, my dad, even when dad is not there. Sometimes mothers are the only ones with the kids, but yet when they talk about their dad, it's like, you'd think that the father has been supporting. A lot of kids, the fathers have done nothing for them. But sometimes when you look at finally the father comes around and they act as if he was there forever. A lot of kids, no matter how the mothers struggle, they tend to push away their mothers, and they seem ungrateful maybe to how much sacrifices the mothers make. Not understanding that a lot of times because the mother is under so much stress, she might say a word or two that doesn't sound right. But then when we start thinking back and putting ourselves in their position, I hope that we can understand that none of it was done out of hate. It was done because of frustration. So tonight I ask that the mothers, yes, mothers and grandmothers and aunties, to take your young ladies and talk to them about how, as they get older and they're getting into relationships, how necessary it is that they're deporting themselves a certain way. A lot of ladies go through a lot of unnecessary abuse because of our mouths. A lot of times, little things that could have been nothing, we make it into a bigger thing because of how we run the mouth. And we talk about what we did and what we didn't do, and we talk about people's families and so if those are the things we're doing, then you know what, we'll never have a decent relationship. A lot of us will become frustrated because in relationships, I sometimes feel like the African way of having more than one wife should have been the norm, because I'm just saying that with no disrespect. Don't want anyone to take it out of context. But if you really look at how people strive together, there's no one person that has all the qualities for any relationship. No one person has them. A lot of times you might find somebody who's kind and caring, but they don't know how to have conversations. Sometimes you have people who will give so much, but then the way they speak, you really become like, I'd rather him not doing for me than to speak like that. And you have some people who are warm and they know the right words, but they're so mean, so selfish, so that you wonder, like, yeah, you say all these caring things, but how is it you cannot do something special for me? How is it you cannot appreciate the things that I do for you? So you look at life and a lot of people, you know, they just look to think that there is, when you get married, that it's just, people must just change overnight. And so we have to teach our young ones that what to expect when they get into relationships, that it's a two-way street, that they have to bring some kind of sweetness and understanding and caring and soft answers and ignoring some things, that they have to educate themselves. And when I say educate, I don't mean like degrees, that's a different story. But education as in knowing what it takes to make a relationship works. Knowing what it takes to make a relationship works. A lot of us as parents, as women, we tell our daughters to be independent and don't depend on anybody for anything, and they're very blah blah, and yet we haven't taught them the softer side. Because at the end of the day, if you want to have children and have that kind of a stability, a stable home, then it's not only about bringing home the bacon too, but it's about good listening skills, a heart of forgiveness, a heart of appreciation, a heart of thankfulness. And don't ever think those are things that you're pushed over because you know how to say thank you. And sometimes when your partner becomes frustrated, you learn to be quiet for a moment and wait until the storm passes before you say, I was disappointed when you said this to me, or I felt hurt when you said that to me. Why did you say that? And have that kind of conversation. Because the way we're teaching our young ladies today, we're teaching them to not accept certain things and don't do this and don't do that and don't do and don't do. But we're not teaching them what to do, what to say, how to say it. A lot of times, as I said, women get abused because of the loudness and the vulgarity and the put downs. If you pick up a man that is good enough for you to make a child with, you can turn around later on and call him all sorts of names and put downs. You have to make sure that you are creating an environment. Remember, women, we are the nurturers. The men supposed to be the hunters and the protectors, and we hope that they're doing that. And that's why I said today, with the fathers and the cussing and the put downs and the threatenings and the violence that you're displaying in front of your children, it is a bad thing. It is a bad thing. But I'm also asking that the woman, that you don't have to be a tit for tat, or because he does this, I must do it too. But you can be, if you want peace in your homes, if you want that kind of relationship that makes sense, then we have to learn, you know, we have to learn some things. And so the older woman needs to gather the young ladies in the church. Stop teaching them bitterness and hatefulness. Stop talking about everything is about the Bible, the Bible. Because after a while, when people get turned off, you cannot rope them back in. Teach them how to be ladies and how to treat others, and to know that sometimes no words, it's not that you're angry at people, but sometimes you're quiet for a moment. And instead of questioning, well, you did that, you did that with the dirty girl them, and da 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 da. You are thankful, you start being thankful that they are kind hearted and that they can be respectful because you are giving respect. Once you start calling people out of their names, they start losing respect for you. Because when we say the negative and the nasty and the ugly things, then when you try to be loving, it's like a wash. It doesn't count. I remember somebody who, and this was an intelligent person. And when I say intelligent, not intelligent, I mean they were educated. They had education. But every day in front of her children, she would call the husband dirty boy. Are you having your kids listening to you calling your husband dirty boy, or call him out of his name? How do you think that is going to equate later? How do you think your daughters are going to look at people if they have a man later, if they have a husband later? How do you think they're going to be able to show love and show appreciation? These soft things, a lot of people say, oh, you sit there, you put up with this and that. It's not about putting up with. It is about when you treat people a certain way, then you're hoping that they'll be able to treat you that certain way. I've seen people, I remember years ago, I met the shoemaker, and I was working in the area at the time, and I haven't seen a shoemaker around the place. And so when I saw this man, he was from Jamaica too, an older person, and I brought a shoe to him, and in them years ago, you would really take a shoe, a nice shoe that you like, to get it repaired or half soled. Because you buy a leather shoe and the top is still good, but you walk down the bottom, or you walk, because you had to take buses and you used to walk a lot then, that the heel would rub down, so you want to get it tipped. So I stopped in there with my shoe to get it, I think it was a tip to balance back the heel, and just talking, and he started telling me, he says, life is something. Okay, you've met this young lady, and anything she wants, she's always reaching out. Can you help me with my rent? Oh, I have no food. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. And he said he never said no, he'd always. And he was a married man, and he said he used to go by and visit. And he said one night he went there, and he was sitting and brought food and stuff, and she cooked. And once when he was finished eating, he says, man, my head hurts. And he said he was shocked when the girl just tell him, get up, come out of my house and go to your yard there. Nobody come dead in my house for me. You nobody come in and come take sick. And he said he was so surprised that it really brought him back to his senses, to say, my goodness, you're doing all these things, and you tell me that she couldn't make a cup of tea and offer it to me instead of getting angry and driving me home. So all of these are the things, people, you have to think of it. You have relationships. Make sure that you understand how to make a cup of tea. My my mentee, the young lady I worked with, as she became as she aspires to become a teacher, and she was in the room this morning. She still works with me. She works with me with. She has three kids that she supports in my classroom. And as we were talking, that's one of the things she said to me, that there was a person that she knew, and when her husband told her later in life how he was only testing her every time, he would say, "Oh, so and so, and him don't have this, and him don't have that," but she's always giving to him. Him don't have bus fare, she's giving it to him. And he said those are the things that made him. It wasn't about her looks or her how big she was or all of that. It wasn't any of those things that attracted him to her more than the fact that if he said he didn't have car fare, she never said, "Oh, sorry for you, me not have it either." She would always share with him. If he said, "Oh my God, I don't feel so good," she's always showing up with some soup or something. And he said those are the things that stole his heart. So let us teach our young ones, what love looks like, what it feels like. When people love and respect one another, it's the best feeling ever. It's the best feeling, no matter how small a space you have to occupy. When you can feel good, when your husband walks in and you can say good night or good morning when you wake up. When no matter how different you are, but you can coexist. Because if you make a cup of tea for yourself, you make one for him. If he needs car fare, you say, you don't need to hide things. You don't need to go dig up. I'm telling you guys, I'm married for 16 years and I've never known I don't care to know the code of my husband's phone. I don't care to know what's in his wallet. It's the strangest thing. I don't care. He leaves his wallet. If I say, "Oh, so and so, and what have you?" He said, "It's in my wallet." I said, "Here's your wallet." He said, "Go take it out of the wallet." I sent him in my purse myself. He would say, he'll bring the purse, come and stretch it and laugh. But those are the things. Once we start digging up and we start suspecting and you cannot feel good to live, because every little move, every little thing becomes a suspicion. But you need to live. When they go through the door, you can say, "Have a good day." And when they come home, you can greet them. You can sit up and wait till they get in. My husband works nights, and when my brother is here, I don't mind going to bed. I'm tired, I go to bed. But when my brother is not here, believe me, I sit up. No matter how tired I am, I sit up until I hear him come in safely in the house. So my people, it's one of those things that I just thought about it. Don't teach your children to be into materialistic things, and then when it's not been, a lot of us, we fall in love because of what we could get. And then when things change and there isn't enough coming in, we become hateful and mean-spirited and ugly. We start putting people down and we start treating them like dogs, and we start saying negative things to them. Don't ever do that. When there's a lot, you put away something for the rainy days, and you enjoy, you give thanks, and you thank your partner. And when the days get stingy, when it becomes a little meager, you still can laugh out loudly and say, "Boy, remember when we could." Look back at those remember when days. And you ride out you ride it out. You together you ride it out. But don't forget until things get better again. Those are little things that we teach, because children don't know. A lot of them don't know how to love and how to touch and how to caress, or to just the soft touches, the whispers, just the look that you can just that you can, you look and somebody feels warm inside. You've got to teach them these things. Teach them how to be be sensual. Teach them how to read romance novels and experience through the eyes. Just kind of close your eyes to understand when somebody says, he came by and my heart fluttered. Or he walked by and he looked at me so softly that my heart melted. Teach your children, talk to them about what love is, what romance is. Talk to them what about relationships are and how to build that kind of friendship, that kind of relationship, that kind of atmosphere where it's always pleasing. You don't have to, if you create that kind of a thing and you put a balance to it, read books and learn how to do things in a relationship so that you can keep your partner there with you. Don't sit and think you go to church and you pray, oh, hallelujah, and you go home, you're cold as ice, and that's going to make a relationship work. No, it will be bitter and it will be cold there. But when you learn to smile, when you learn to look at the person and remember some things, and it just makes you smile. When you can leave and go to work and you think and you just feel good, you just feel warm. It's a good thing. Practice those things, people. I'm here tonight because I'm saying, we talk to the kids and we see the anger and we see where a lot of it is going. People are not killing they're not killing just men anymore. They're killing women. They're killing mothers and children. It's grave because people are not loving anymore. A lot of these things come from being dunce, being uneducated. And when I say, and it's true, when you're illiterate, it's hard. If you don't learn how to treat people, if you don't learn the good, warm things, it becomes a negative back and forth. And everything somebody says to you, you look at it in the negative. That's what happens when people are illiterate. And when there's a disagreement, everything becomes negative. There is no, I'm sorry, or when you said that, I didn't feel good when you said that, or I felt disappointed, or I felt hurt. There's no way for conflict resolution because they don't have the capabilities. So no matter if you've meant something good, they take it for the negative because they're always waiting in the offensive, always waiting. So we have to teach our children. Respect is a good thing. Warmth and caring are great things. Sensuality is a good thing. Your body was created to experience good feelings. Learn them, embrace them, and learn to create good relationships that will last. Open conversations are good. Don't be afraid to talk about anything and everything. Don't limit yourself. Don't be embarrassed or feel sheepish to express your love to somebody. Oh, be open, be frank, be sensual, be playful. Create laughter. Create good moments that are unforgettable. So I'm just saying to us, I'm getting older now, but, as young people, we didn't have parents who talked to us openly. They were afraid to say things. They wouldn't even hug their husbands in front of us. They wouldn't hold their hand. They wouldn't touch their shoulders or touch their faces softly. They didn't do those things. Everything was hidden and everything was tabooed. It's a different world, guys. You have your beautiful daughters coming up. Don't let them fall into relationships and because they're not loving, because they're cold and callous and mean, then they lose good husbands. There's still good husbands out there. Teach them how to appreciate things and how to give back. So that husbands don't need to run outside to look for warmth. A lot of husbands who go out, we think they're out there because somebody's giving them $1. No, they have their own dollar bills. But they're out there because somebody shows that they care more. So teach them so that they can keep it together and their children can grow up with fathers. And at the end of the day, what that their children see them do, how the children see them treat one another, then hopefully the children will emulate those and they will want that for themselves. So I'm just saying, guys, I'm just saying, all these things that we go through in life, they are learning experiences. There are books out there to read. I remember we used to read those little the romance novels, and you close your eyes and you get that vivid picture in your head, and you can read the words, and so you can just visualize things and just feel warmth. Your body is still the same body. Teach them how to use their bodies to be respectfully, to keep their relationships solid. A lot of people don't know what love is, never been loved, don't never experienced love. And so they live and they're miserable, and because they're miserable, they try to make everybody else's lives miserable. You ever see sometimes in a relationship and you have people who nobody ever liked or nobody ever asked to marry them, and they are so bitter and they always look for the negatives to tell you. They never encouraged anything. They're always looking to tear down because they never learned to give anything, so nobody reach out. But nothing is wrong with love, people. Love is beautiful. Love is kind. And so let us find those little attributes so that as we create bonds, that the bonds will stay bonded. As we create relationships, that will be something worthwhile. That people at work, but they're dying to get home because there's a warm cup of tea or there's a warm meal. And when you get home, sometimes your partner will wait up for you to eat with you. And even if you had dinner before they got home, that you're sitting up waiting, just waiting to hear them enter the home, so you know they're safe. And when they enter, sit with them for a moment. And even if you're not eating, you can make a cup of tea and drink with them while they eat. It's not hard. It doesn't cost a penny. Go for it, people. Try it. It works. If you can't be good, be careful. But walk good, live good, love good, and be good to yourself. Good night.